Well, hello everyone. My name is Keith Barron. I am the president and CEO and chairman of a company called Aurania Resources Limited, based out of Canada. And we've been exploring. Our flagship project is in Ecuador, in South America. Been working down there for a lot of years. This project since 2016. For those who don't know me or know my background, my previous exploration company was called Aurania Resources, and that is a company that made a fantastic discovery back in 2006 in Ecuador called Fruta del Norte. It's arguably the second highest grade gold deposit in the whole world right now. Unfortunately, I don't own it anymore, but I'm looking for another one. Just to let you know, our share price went from 43 cents, or from 30 cents actually, to $43, 9,000% increase. Made a lot of people a lot of money, including myself. I was the largest shareholder, and we sold out to Kinross for 1.2 billion Canadian. So that's who we are. The Aurania is listed on the TSXV. Our symbol is ARU. We're also listed in Frankfurt and the over-the-counter market in America. So go ahead, Matthew.
Okay, Keith, good to meet you. I know you've got a reputation. I know we've not met or spoken before, and you've given us a little introduction to recent success. But what's the plan now? What are you trying to do in Ecuador?
Well, essentially reinvent the wheel. And even on a much larger basis. So the previous company had a land position, very, very large land package of 93,000 hectares. This one has got a land package of 208,000. So that's roughly 500,000 acres. We've been exploring it diligently since 2016. We've spent over $60 million US on the project. The only previous people who had been on this project exploring before had been the Spanish conquistadors back in the 1560s. And I actually did a lot of research in the Vatican and other places and knew that there had been gold found in the vicinity, and that's what actually led me back to this area. But it's in the same mineral belt as the previous discovery that I had, Fruta del Norte. It's 100 kilometers to the north. And it's an area, it's in an area where there's been a lot of, well, not specifically on our property, but in the belt, a lot of exploration success. So besides Fruta del Norte, there's a copper mine called Mirador, copper, gold, silver, which has been in production since 2019. And then a number of advanced projects, notably one called Warintza, which is right on our southern boundary, and that is owned by Socialist, a Canadian company. And they're spending a lot of money there right now. We have basically a cornucopia of targets. Not that we expected to find all this stuff when we started out. We started out looking for gold, and we found a lot of copper and sediments, similar to the sort of thing that Ivanhoe has been mining in the DRC. So in flat-lying sediments, shales and sandstones. The first discovery for Ecuador. Conventional porphyry copper on the project. And then we've got a number of areas with high-grade lead-zinc silver, very, very silver-rich in limestones. And to round it all off, epithermal gold with characteristics that look very, very much like Fruta del Norte.
Right, so there's a lot going on there, and as you say, it's a very big land package. How do you go about funding exploration on a land package like that, and how do you prioritize that spend?
Well, as I said, we really had to start from first principles on this, because the only people who had been on the ground before had been the conquistadors. So we had a program of stream sediments. We flew the area, spent $1 million flying an airborne survey at the first thing. And then it's been diligently following up the various anomalies, both the stream sediment and the magnetic anomalies on the project. And that's what's consumed $60 million to date. So really, the heavy lifting on this has been done. We're looking for partners. Uh, Really, we're at a stage now where it needs a lot of drilling. Um, we have just recently completed a smallish IP survey in induced polarization. We spent $200,000 doing that on one of the gold targets, and I'm waiting for the reports to come back on that. But essentially, it's at a stage now where we have a lot of first-class targets. We've spoken to a number of majors. We're talking to people right now. So really, that's the status of where we're going with that today.
Right, and the idea there would be to provide those potential JV partners, those majors, with enough data to allow them to make that decision. How far along the line are you, not just with the conversations, but with the ability to provide enough data for them to be able to make a decision?
Oh, I think we're there. We've certainly spent a lot more money than a typical major will spend on a project. I think a lot of them are sitting on the fence right now because there's a national election next month. The current president is a caretaker president, Daniel Noboa. He's a youngish chap. He's under the age of 40. He comes from a family of, believe it or not, banana billionaires. And he's very pro-business. He's right of center. And he's been very supportive of what we've been doing. But of course, he's been in a caretaker government for only a year and a half. That's expiring very, very soon. And it looks like he will get the time to continue his mandate for another 4 years as of mid-February. So I'm waiting to see. So are the majors. We know that there's a number of them here. We talk to them all the time. And really waiting to see what the political situation is. And I think people have been to a certain extent waiting to see what Trump does. And the reason being, Daniel Noboa is really the only right-wing government in the whole of South America right now, and yet we have a ton, not just on our project, but a myriad of different mainly copper projects in the Republic of Ecuador that are ready to get going. And all they need is financing. And I know because I've spoken in the past to the State Department, the U.S. State Department at the embassy here, that they are very interested and watching very, very closely what happens in this country, because they certainly do not want the commodities to go to China. And so there's where is America going to get its copper from if they're going to have an EV revolution? Or where's the West? Ivanhoe has got this huge deposit in the DRC, Kamoa-Kakula, which is producing, but all the copper is going to China. I don't think people really appreciate that. That's the second largest deposit in the whole world that's being mined today. So for a myriad of reasons, I think, any company that U.S.-based companies or companies that have a large presence in the U.S., well, we're certainly talking with them. But some of it comes down to politics. It goes beyond what's in the ground. Now, all that being said, maybe, because I know time is short here for you, I'd like to talk about some other projects we have in France, if I may.
Yeah, I just very quickly on just finish off on the politics of Ecuador is
Sure.
obviously you said that people are kind of waiting to see the results of the elections. Does that suggest that if he doesn't get back in, or if, I know he's a stand-in as well, but if he doesn't get back in, the other side are like not pro-mining? Is there a downside if he doesn't get in?
Who the heck really knows? The opposition is socialist. In the past, we've had socialist governments in Ecuador during the time that I've been working here, and some of them have worked with industry, but occasionally they've done things that have been really quite stupid. There was the Correa government back in the 2000s that brought in a windfall profits tax. They were going to tax at 75%. when the gold price would go over $2,000, and of course they removed any incentive for a company to come in and build a mine. They were on their way out, and Lucas Lundin came in with the Lundin Group and managed to negotiate a very, very good deal for his company, which is Lundin Mining. And now they're producing about 500,000 ounces of gold a year and sending the gold abroad. So it's a real win-win situation. And, none of that would have happened had I not entered the country back in 2001 and decided to privately fund exploration out of my hip pocket. I did that for 3 years until I got the company public. Now, as a result of it, I was the largest shareholder on the takeout. And just to let you know, in this present venture, Aurania, I own 44% of the company. And I don't take a salary. So this is very, very unlike all the other junior stories out there. And I am very, very committed to this. And I am perfectly aligned with the shareholders.
For once, I believe the CEO when he says that. That's it. That's interesting because I can count on one hand, slightly less actually, the amount of CEOs that don't take a salary and who put their own money into a project. Something I wish more people would do. That's true entrepreneurialism. Okay, well, look, again, as you say, so time is short. We just want to kind of get a sense of the man, a sense of the project. So why don't we kind of skip down to Corsica, France, and take a look at what you're doing there?
Okay, well, this is kind of an odd thing, but I'm an economic geologist. I have a PhD. I've been in the business for 42 years. And when I see potential value for the shareholder, I go and pounce on it. So this is a situation where a colleague of mine came across a reference to a nickel mineral called awarenite, which is a nickel iron alloy. It's a natural occurring alloy. It's got basically the composition of stainless steel, and it occurred in northern Corsica. I had a look at the area actually on Google Earth. Anybody could have done this. And I saw on a beach in a place called Nonza, there are a lot of black stripes. And I conferred with my colleague. He basically jumped into his Jeep, drove down to Marseille, took the ferry across. Next day he was on the beach and sending me photographs with his iPhone. And indeed, it was what we call a black sand placer, an alluvial accumulation of heavy minerals. In this case, it was awarenite and magnetite. And when you took a sample from the beach, any random sample from this black material, it came back 6% nickel, which is higher than any hard rock mine in the world. So I looked at the possibilities of this, and I thought, actually, he brought back a 5-gallon pail of the material, which I panned out in the front yard of my house in Switzerland, where I live, with a gold pan. And I got a concentrate, and I sent that concentrate into a commercial lab, and it came back at 50.1% nickel with measurable platinum, palladium, and gold in it, as well as cobalt. And I got very, very excited at that point, and I said, well, we have to go and see if we can secure this for Aurania, because this is low-hanging fruit, if ever there was. I understand alluvials very, very well, and in fact, one of the things that I did with the money that I earned from Aurelian, I have a private sapphire mining company in Montana in the U.S., which is actually now the world's largest sapphire mine. And so I understand how to mine alluvials. And, we got a scoping study done by a Dutch company. We sent them all the particulars for the beach. And they came back to me and they said, you could mine this with a floating dredge, a vacuum suction dredge, and the cost would be about 10 million euros to buy the dredge, 3 million euros to buy the additional equipment, 13 million euros, you're in the game. Sustaining capital for 1 year, capex or your opex would be another 10 million euros. And that is certainly doable by a little company like us. So our intention is to put it in production.
We've seen projects like this around the world, so I understand the process, but obviously this is sort of middle of the Mediterranean, and how does one go about getting permissions to do this? It's sitting there to say easy, cheap mining with some exceptional grades, but setting something like this up is probably the long pole in the tent, as it were. So how do
Well, one
you
would think
move this
so.
forward?
Yeah, one would think so. But in reality, this beach is not natural. It's only been there since the 1960s. And it's made up of waste from an asbestos mine, which is 6 kilometers away. They dump the waste into the ocean or into the Mediterranean. And over time, it's migrated its way down the coast and filled in a couple of ports. And these are now beaches, mostly composed of sand with some pebbles of rounded material that, that was just waste from the mine. The asbestos is all gone. It's been checked as far as we're aware, at least twice by the French government, the authorities, because occasionally people walk their dogs on the beach and there is no asbestos hazard. We've had a bunch of stuff in the media by irresponsible people saying that we're going to produce asbestos, and that's exactly the opposite of what our intention is. In fact, there is no life on this beach. It is completely sterile because the material contains nickel, cobalt, and chromium, which are all heavy metal poisons. And so there are no barnacles, there are no snails, there are no crabs, there's nothing, nothing, nothing. It's devoid of life. And we're going to be cleaning it up in a way by taking all the fraction that's smaller than 1 millimeter, the sand, and leaving the rest of it behind so people can continue to walk their dogs or do whatever they want to. Now, as far as permissions go, there was a vote in the Corsican parliaments in November, which has 40 members, and unanimously they approved the project. They said we have to do a full-blown environmental study. You have to do that in France anyway. It's already underway. So we're doing that right now. And, I am hoping that we can get this thing rolling and potentially put it in production in 2026.
Well, okay, so that's pretty quick. It's simple. We know the capex will be low, and the grades we're seeing from what you say, is quite high. So this is on a per ton basis. There's a lot of contained metal in here, and a valuable metal as well. Um, 2020, this kind of shocked me there. I thought that's quite interesting. What's the scale of this? Because you talk about a couple of beach loads of this stuff. I mean, what are
Yeah,
we talking about?
10 years.
10
10 years
years.
worth
Okay.
of production, and then it's done. And at the request of the local people, and we do have an MOU already signed by the mayors of both local communities. They would like us to leave off for the summer months, so we would be doing the extraction. It's not mining; it's extraction, and we would be doing that in for the remaining 8 or 9 months of the year. And I might add, there are other things like this within France along the coast where they're extracting aggregates for cement and for building materials, sand and gravel. So this is not a crazy thing, and it will be permitted under sand and gravel as a sand and gravel permit.
Okay. And with regards to I mean, how much downtime are we talking about? The summer months being what, 4 months, 5 months? So there's a
June,
part-time
July, August.
operation.
Yeah,
Right.
we'd be
Okay.
back in business by mid-September.
Right. Okay. Okay. And when do you kind of actually start putting some numbers together on this? Trying to understand the opportunity financially.
Yeah, well, we haven't done that yet, and that's intentional. Now, I looked at the thing, and as I said, I've got a lot of alluvial experience, and it's obviously going to be a mine. It's just a question of, when is it going to be extracted by whom? And hopefully it's going to be us. So what we're doing is part of the environmental survey. We will be drilling the beach and getting a profile from top to bottom and sending that material to the lab. And then on the basis of that, with kind of a grid based drilling program, we'll be able to put a resource together. Anything else at this stage is arm waving from me. It may be smaller, it might be larger, but I look at this thing already, and I can obviously see that it's going to make money.
Right. So in terms of prioritizing Ecuador versus this, I mean, do they run in parallel, or in terms of managing your money, what do you focus on?
Yeah, they do run in parallel. We would like to do a drilling program in Ecuador on the gold targets coming from the IP survey later on this year. Of course, we don't have all the money in the world, so we're focusing on various things. One of the things that we've done in Corsica, just in the last after New Year's, we've got samples at SGS Labs, which is is the largest laboratory in the world for this kind of business. And they've been able to synthesize nickel sulfate battery grade from the material that we provided them from the beach, from the raw sand. And there's lots of reasons to do this. There is they're building a gigafactory in Normandy in France to produce EV batteries. There's already Sibanye-Stillwater have a refinery in Dunkirk, and there's a second one being built by another company, a private company in Bordeaux. We have a lot of magnetite, which is iron, basically iron oxide, suitable stuff to make steel with. And there are 7 companies making stainless steel in France, all of them who would be very, very interested in taking our material. So we did this, not that we're going to make batteries, but we wanted to show proof of concept so I can go out and do what some of the other companies have done in the nickel business and go out and see if I can get some offtake agreements, some agreements with industry. Another Canadian company has done this fairly recently with Outokumpu and with Sumitomo. And this can be done. We know that Elon Musk needs a lot of nickel for his cars, and we can provide it and provide it fairly quickly. And it's
Right,
clean nickel. That's the thing,
clean,
right? It's not
green
like
nickel.
it's coming from Indonesia where we're cutting down a rainforest.
Yeah, we do a weekly nickel show. We, for the last 4 years, sort of aware of some of the issues, but also maybe aware of some of the opportunities. Like, you're based in Switzerland, it's a big ecosystem for EV and green metals in Europe. Is that something that you'll be kind of feeding into and taking advantage of?
I'm based in Europe. I know a lot of people in the metal space. Of course, Glencore is based in Switzerland now. At the end of the day, I don't know where this goes to. Maybe somebody would want to come in and buy us out. Who knows? If it's large enough. I know for the French governments, the French industry has mostly been getting their nickel from French Polynesia. It's been very, very contentious. Glencore has their mining operation down there. They've had to close it from time to time because of unrest. And we provide a source of nickel here. And the French government has signed on to green initiatives. They signed a compact with Italy and Germany last year to find critical metals within Europe. So we know that there's one project that's being financed right now in the in northeastern France for lithium, and potentially we would be number two. But these are things that that the French government is willing to put money into through grants and also low interest or no interest loans. And so there's that opportunity from the French government and opportunity from the EU government.
Yeah, and I imagine one or two automotive companies in Germany too. Um, well, okay, interesting stuff. Actually, I guess you're hitting all the buzzwords out for sure, and banging on open doors in both the North American market and the European market for what you are potentially able to get out of the ground or extract in this case. Um, Keith, I appreciate the call and really interesting. Actually, I wasn't kind of expecting to get this level of detail, and I'm glad I did.
Okay.
Glad I did.
Yeah.
For sure. Really, really interesting. Like, do stay in touch with us and let us know how you get on with these projects as they move through the phases. And good luck, obviously, with the elections in Ecuador. That could be super news if the status quo remains. Appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for the opportunity.